investigation is ongoing, and the question of motivation is still to be determined. But whatever the motivation here, I know that Asian Americans are in very concerned, because, as you know, I've been speaking about the brutality against Asian Americans for the last couple months, and I think it is very, very troublesome. And but I'm making no connection at this moment to the motivation of the killer. I'm waiting for an answer from, as the investigation proceeds, from the FBI and from the Justice Department. So so I'll have more to say when the investigation is completed.
What happened in Georgia, in Atlanta, it is tragic. Our country, the president, for the loss. Our prayers are extended to the families of those who have been killed. And it speaks to a larger issue, which is the issue of violence in our country, and what we must do to never tolerate it and to always speak out against it. The investigation is ongoing. We don't yet know, we're not yet clear about the motive. But I do want to say to our Asian American community that we stand with you and understand how this has frightened and shocked and outraged all people. But knowing the increasing level of hate crime against our Asian American brothers and sisters, we also want to speak out in solidarity with them and acknowledge that none of us should ever be silent in the face of any form of hate.
Bitch, please!
Started feel like shit, hand to the worst. I wouldn't even make a dial if you put me on the climb. Let me be there for a while. When I look into your eyes, I don't see the same smile. Probably blame me for the drugs I was on before you found.
Hey yo, what's good? It's your boy Matt B, back at you with another video. I'm smiling right now, man. I bet y'all, wondering, how could I be smiling at a time like this? Before I let you know, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. For some reason, my last video that I put up today, if you're checking this video, go and it's gonna be at the end of the video, man. I put a video up today, and I don't know it. I don't want to be like I'm just some big YouTuber, because I'm not. But man, I feel like they shadow banned the heck out that video, man. So please, after this video, man, go check that video out. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Like I said, man, share this video to any of your platforms, man. Yo, I want to be the first to say it before y'all hear from anybody else. Welcome to the Democrat America. I love it here. I love it. I love it. I've got to the point where I'm not even arguing with people anymore. I'm actually laughing at people. We are living in a zombie-crat America. These liberals have taken over the media, and they just, they spoon feeding people the ignorance. So I hope that I don't get flagged for what I'm about to say. But when it comes to Robert Long, this ain't nothing but a Dylan Roof. And I can't even think of the dude's name. I should have looked it up before I started the video. That shot up the Orlando nightclub because he had some problem with homosexuals, I guess. I look at all these different guys as pawns, agents, MK Ultra experiments. Think about the guy that shot up the theater when the Batman premiered. So I sat back, man, and I let everybody jump on this, man, and I see how, you know, they calling this white man, if he do anything to any race on this land of enrichments, he's a Trump supporter. He ain't a Bush supporter. He ain't, you know, he ain't any other Republican supporter. He's a Trump supporter. So even though, you know, back in 2016, 2015, 2014, mass shootings was like the thing. And so the last mass shooting that I have on record that went mainstream would be the shooting out here in Vegas. They never have a motive for the things that they do. But I'm laughing, man, because they chalking this up as, man, this guy, it's not a hate crime, but he had to do this because he had sexual urges. But I'm gonna stop talking, man. I'm gonna go ahead and run everything back to back, man, and then I'll be right back with my thoughts.
A lot of new information tonight about the murders of 8 people inside spas in the Atlanta area. Initial reports raised fears of a hate crime because the suspect, 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long, is white, and most of the victims were of Asian descent. But now investigators are saying the motive may be sexual in nature. We've also learned Long headed south after the killings.
The suspect was on his way to Florida, I believe, and perhaps to carry out additional shootings. So again, it really speaks to the coordination and the quick response from law enforcement.
And News4Jax reporter Scott Johnson is joining us live. Scott, no word where he was headed in Florida, but investigators are working to find out why.
They're trying to, Mary. He was driving the interstate coming south of the Sunshine State, and a quote from an investigator is he was coming to carry out some sort of attack on a porn industry of some sort. A massage parlor massacre in Atlanta. Investigators say 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long confessed to killing multiple people in some sort of twisted attempt to eliminate temptation to his self-confessed sex addiction.
He does claim that it was not racially motivated. He apparently has an issue, what he considers a sex addiction, and sees these locations as something that allows him to go to these places, and it's a temptation for him that he wanted to eliminate.
There have been concerns raised about a potential motive involving the race of the victims in light of recent violence nationwide against Asian Americans.
As you know, I've been speaking about the brutality against Asian Americans for the last couple months, and I think it is very, very troublesome. But I'm making no connection at this moment to the motivation of the killer.
Investigators say as far as they know, the massage parlors were legally run businesses, but Long for some reason viewed them as a temptation to his own sex addiction and felt he needed to kill anyone who fed into that. News4Jax crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson is a former sex crimes investigator. He's never seen anything like this.
I've come across all types of cases, none as bizarre as this, where a person will go on a killing spree because he, quote, has a sex habit. He is a sexual deviant.
As we said, it's unclear where in Florida he was going. He was driving south on I-75 out of Atlanta. I talked to the agency that runs the northernmost section of Florida that controls it for policing. They say they hadn't got any word that he was coming to their town in North Florida, so it's really unclear where he intended to go next. Hopefully, Georgia authorities can get to the bottom of it. We're live tonight. Scott Johnson, Channel 4, the local station.
911 calls were urgent, one coming from inside one of the 3 spas that police say was targeted by a gunman. The caller apparently ducking for cover.
A white male? What is he wearing? I don't know. Please call, okay.
Police say the alleged gunman started at Young's Asian Massage in Ackworth, Georgia late Tuesday, opening fire and killing 4 people, wounding another. This neighbor says a bullet flew straight through her wall.
Like a bang. I think, oh, something happened.
As police were still handling the first shooting, almost an hour later, 2 more calls. A pair of similar businesses in Atlanta right across the street from each other.
They've shot up 2 spas here in Zone 2. So we need to make sure if we have any Asian spas, we need to be checking on them.
In the end, 8 people were killed. Officials say 6 of them were Asian women.
Still early, but he does claim that it was not racially motivated. He apparently has an issue, what he considers a sex addiction, and it's a temptation for him that he wanted to eliminate.
The suspect was ultimately caught later that night, more than 2 hours south of where officials say he first opened fire. When authorities released this surveillance photo, his relatives immediately recognized the suspect and called police. Officials are not calling this a hate crime, but not ruling it out, saying it's early in the investigation. Still, for many in the Asian American community, the pain, the fear is inescapable.
I do want to say to our Asian American community that we stand with you and understand how this has frightened and shocked and outraged all people.
Do you feel like this was a targeted attack?
I definitely feel targeted. At the root of it is deep-seated, unconscious bias and internalized, systemic racism.
Bitch, please!
And here in Atlanta, at one of those spas, a memorial is growing tonight. Now, NBC News has confirmed that that gun was purchased legally yesterday, just hours before that shooting began. The suspect has been charged with 8 counts of murder. He told officials that when he was caught, he was headed to Florida to continue his...
So now we're at a point where we have Asians talking about being systematic. We have Asians now saying that they are systematically oppressed. They are targeted. They're being attacked. They're being hated on. They've been assaulted. They've been the bottom of the barrel for too long. And they need some civil rights. I hope, man, everybody understand, man, because like I said, man, I laugh, man. I'm not even mad by far. And the funny thing is how I even came across this whole Atlanta shooting. I woke up this morning and it was saying something about the police giving an extra presence to the Chinatown that's out here in Vegas or whatnot, and they're talking about beefing up the security, security and the police presence because of what happened in Atlanta. And I'm like, dang, did some other black person go beat up somebody in Atlanta now, or did he beat up a couple more people, or did they get robbed again? I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, I guess I thought it was just in LA and in New York, in a few other places, but those two, I wouldn't been surprised if it was just the same old soul. But now that we see that we have agents out here running amok, like I said, man, I'm not into conspiracy theories. I've moved past that whole conspiracy theory phase years ago, and it is what it is. If you say that he's not an agent, you can argue and say that he's not part of MK, part of the MK Ultra. But you can say and deny that he's not part of any of these groups, and you can say that he's a Trump supporter, he's a far right extremist, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, since it's been noted that it's not a hate crime, then you can't throw that whole Trump supporter, you can't throw that out there. But like I said, man, I don't believe the news. If you go and look at Kamala's and Joe Biden's, that's why I put it at the beginning of the video. If you go and look at both of their whatever they said, the bull crap that came out their mouths, and Kamala, the Asians are not our brothers and sisters, man. No matter how it is, they might be your brothers and sisters, man, but at the end of the day, man, I have an indigenous background, and you're not from here. Your ancestors are not from here. So to include so-called black people in with these Asians is just dumb on your part. A lot of people is waking up, but except these zombie crats who just think that these Democrats can't do anything wrong, man. We just gonna leave them behind, and we just gonna, we know what's going on. It ain't enough distractions in the world, man, for y'all to cover up the things that y'all doing. We know that maybe by the summer, 1 million illegals would be crossing the border. COVID would be back up, and they're gonna try to blame, all these different party places and stuff like that, the reason why COVID is the way it is. But nah, it's not. I don't want to sound racist, but it is what it is. If you get mad, it is what it is. But a lot of these illegals will bring COVID here. Everything that Trump did, man, Biden is trying to undo, man. And all I can do is just sit back and smile and wait for the drummer to fold. They ain't talking about none of these black on black mass shootings either, man, because there's been a lot of them this year so far. But you get this agent to run up in an Asian parlor, and I guess maybe killing those white people and the Mexican man wasn't part of the plan. But who's to say if there was shooting involved, if there was actually people dying, man. At the end of the day, man, I just don't believe these hoax, man. I just don't believe in anything no more. I love y'all. It's your boy Matt B. Peace.
Started feel like shit, heading to the worst. I wouldn't even make a dial if you put me on the climb. Let me be there for a while. When I look into your eyes, I don't see the same smile. Probably blame me for the drugs. I was on them before you found me. Seem like everybody judged me, so I ain't worried.